Welcome to another exciting episode of Rogue Finances and Life, where we have life and financially sound. For today's episode, I'm here with Mr. Brian Kelly, the automation master. Mr. Kelly, he helps entrepreneurs to saturate the marketplace with the message to live videos, shows combined with proven automation strategies to get them more exposures. So without any further ado, has Mr. Brian Kelly.
Hey, welcome. How you doing, Jesus? Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
I am doing well, and thank you for being available. I'm excited to have you on the show.
Right on. Let's do it, brother.
So, a little bit of yourself.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I that's a long story. I'll be brief, but I grew up in a family setting that believed in and only knew of the corporate world. That one must get a job, work, 30 plus years, retire, and then that's the end of your life. And I don't mean that to sound that grim. But I learned early in life there was something that didn't ring true with me about this whole thing. I wasn't sure yet, but there was one moment in time where there was this incredible movie coming out. The buzz was everywhere. I was, I think, 13 years old, somewhere around there, and it's a long time ago, by the way. And there was no internet back then, so it was word of mouth, and it was huge. The buzz was everywhere, and I went home and I said, Dad, can I get a ticket just to go to a movie? And he looked down at me and said, Sorry, son, we can't afford it. And that was like a defining moment. I was old enough now to understand what money meant and the fact that, oh my gosh, our family can't even afford a movie ticket. And that movie was Star Wars. It was epic. And I went back and
Wow.
forth to school hearing all about it. R2D2, all this different language, C3PO, Chewbacca. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? It was killing me. But that was a driving force in my life. So I decided that right then and there, I will never be in a situation like that. My parents wanted the best for me. There's no doubt. They loved us. They did what they knew. They did the best they could with what they had. I just knew I'd find a way to do something different so that I would never be in the situation to look down on my kid and say, sorry, we can't afford that. Something as seemingly insignificant as a movie ticket. So that's what really got me going. And then I've just had this drive for life ever since, wanting to serve people and make everyone better, just a little bit better by helping them any way I can.
Amen. That sounds great. So, the first question I have for you is when it comes to maintaining a positive, productive, and successful mindset, what do you do to sustain this?
Oh my gosh. Lots of different things. One is start the morning with prayer,
Amen.
and get that. That's got to be part of the day, and then do some. I've been tweaking around or testing different routines in the morning. I'm not a guy that likes routines, but I've interviewed so many successful entrepreneurs myself, and most of them, nearly over 90% of the successful ones, have some kind of routine. So I know there is a model to success, a pattern to success, and that's one of them. Not everyone has to have a routine to be successful, but I just like to increase my odds, if you know what I mean. So I try different routines and see which one sticks, and stick with it as long as my mind will allow me, because let's just face it, I get bored real quick, and I want to do something. I like variety, and I'll move on to another quote unquote routine, or I may just have no routine at all for a while. But it's always keeping it fresh, and then I'm always thankful for everything. I'm thankful for being here with you, Jesus, on this show. I appreciate this. I don't take it lightly. Respect you, and I want to help make your show the best it can be. So I'm always looking to help others. So what drives me and gives me a positive mindset is knowing that I can in some way help someone else to achieve more, whether it's micro amount or a macro amount. Either way, as long as we're moving upward, then that's what drives me and keeps my mindset positive at all times.
That's awesome. Awesome. Now, do you believe there's there's some sort of pattern or formula to be continued as successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, there are, like the old adage, success leaves clues. There are definitely patterns. I have my own show. It's called the Mind Body Business Show, and it's based on those three pillars of success. And that came from studying only successful people for about 10 years or so. I just dedicated and studied only successful. Wanted to see what was it that perhaps was making them more successful than me. And what I found in talking to mentors, authors of books, some who are not even with us anymore, but from their books and their teachings in their books, speakers, prominent entrepreneurs, what I found was the three things kept bubbling to the top: the patterns. And that was mind. They had a very powerful, positive, we just talked about that, but most importantly, flexible mindset. Body was that to a person, each of these very successful entrepreneurs took care of themselves physically. That means through exercise and nutrition. And then business, which is multifaceted. There are so many things that one must master to become, skill sets that one must master to build a thriving, successful business that they can then scale and build even bigger. Things like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. I mean, I could go on for quite some time. And so those three main pillars of success, those were patterns I found in the study of successful people that were the patterns of success. And that if we just, as human beings, just model them, which is a fancy word for copy, which is okay, even though the teacher might have smacked the back of your hand for cheating in school, which I come from that far long ago when they actually could smack you with a ruler and they could touch you. But we got a wrong connotation from that upbringing, and that copying was bad in all forms. It's not. When you become a successful business person, that's how you become successful, by modeling others and not reinventing the wheel and spending 10 years what could take you maybe 2 to 5 by modeling others instead.
So true. And some of our coaches, they say that this is to be successful, you got to copy, but you got to copy the right cat.
Yes, that's also very true. Very true. Yeah, so you want to make sure that not only are they a successful person in your eyes, success is very subjective.
Mhm.
We all make the decision on what that definition is. But is it something you would call successful, number one? Number two, are they living that life? Are they of integrity? Are they? Do they have any authority status? Do they themselves practice what they preach?
Mhm.
So don't just pick anybody that you look out there and say that one's successful. I'm going to pick that one. Well, dig a little deeper. Find out if their values are in alignment with yours. Many things that are so important. It's like getting a client that you don't want, that you don't find out till it's too late. They become a cancer to your business because they take up all your time. The same can be true of a mentor. So be very, very careful in selecting who you model as that one person or persons when you want to go and achieve success, greater success.
So true. Now, in one word, characterize your life as an entrepreneur.
Liberation. That's an easy one. Yes. So yeah, we were just having a chat right before we came on, Jesus, about that, and that is what it does is it provides you the freedom. So it's not all about money, but money is a very important aspect of it, and a lot of people try to skate around it. It's part of the equation, regardless of what anybody says. One must make money in order to provide more freedom. Money can buy freedom. It does buy freedom, and if you have that freedom, that you are now liberated to do what you want, when you want, how you want, without relying on anyone else like corporate telling you all of those things, when to do it, how to do it, and so on. So yeah, being successful can cause, and being an entrepreneur and working for yourself, all the decisions are on you. You are free to either fail or succeed. It's liberating in either direction.
Exactly. I agree with that. Like we also say financially independent, which means having freedom of time and freedom of finance and being able to, like you said, being able to, if I want to go on a vacation, I can go on a vacation. If I want to, that freedom is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've interviewed, gosh, hundreds now of entrepreneurs from all over the world, successful ones. And the interesting thing is, to their core, I ask this one final question on every show. I'm not going to reveal it here because they have to go listen to it. But this one final question that's very revealing because it tells me what truly drives a successful individual. And shockingly, in the very beginning, it was shocking and surprising, was none of them their reason for, not a single one of them said their primary reason for doing what they did, their primary reason was for money. None of them said it was money. They said it was all about something different, and every person had a different answer. It was amazing, and it has been amazing. Every show that I do, I get a different answer. That's why I know your definition, Jesus, of success, I'm sure is different than mine. Does it mean it's
Definitely.
wrong? No, because it's a personal thing. It's unique to you. What is success to you? It might be completely different than the person you live with, your spouse, your significant other, your kids. That's okay. And
Yeah,
that definition can change and does change while we are on this planet and we're living over time. It does change as well.
exactly. Now, how do you how do you go about marketing your business?
Through live video shows, video interview style shows. And yeah, it's multifaceted, but one of the great things about doing just what you're doing, Jesus, interview style shows, that is number one, most important. When I started my new show, the Mind Body Business Show, over 3 years ago, I contemplated just being a talking head and giving tips and stuff like that. And I thought that's not going to be very compelling or interesting. It's the same guy and the same voice and the same thing every time. No, I'm going to interview people, which I had done prior on a previous show. And I'm glad I made that decision because so many things happen as a result. You establish lifelong relationships with those whom you interview, number one. Number two, you are also tapping into their tribe because when you go on their podcast, if given enough time, you will also put out the fact that, hey, I'm going on this podcast. And then when it drops, you can then promote that. It's like they were in it. They want everybody to know. So now you are leveraging their tribe. And then now you've got all of this content. You're recording this right now as we're talking, Jesus, and that content's going to be available for how long? Forever, for as long as a computer will serve that material. Audio format, video format. And then if you take it all the way to live, there are live viewers that can interact and comment to add that dynamic portion to it. So more touches you can get people to your content, to yourself. And if you make the show not about yourself, but about your guest, just like you're doing, Jesus, very masterfully, then people will be gravitated towards you. And this is authentic. You don't do this falsely.
Yes, sir.
They gravitate towards you. Now, if you have a if you solve a pain point of someone who comes across you that has seen you on their show, or you've interviewed them, more importantly, then they are less resistant, less hesitant to just say, "Hey, Zeus, man, I already know you put on an awesome show and you put everything you have into it. That means that's how you're going to work with me as a client. I'm in. What is it? Let's go." And so that's the secret sauce, at least from my marketing strategy when it comes to live video interview style shows.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed that. That's really good. Now, how important is automation to your business and why?
It's the lifeblood of my business. I just an admission. I started in the corporate world as a software engineer. I used to write computer software that went on computers and ran. So I had this intense love for how software, once you wrote it one time, it automated it, meaning it would repeat the same thing over and over without error, without fail. So it also now we're seeing it more and more in business circles. I'm hearing about the big A, automation, everywhere I go now. Like 5 years ago, you hardly heard a peep about it. Now it's everywhere because tools have matured, and the tools have matured to a point where a lot more people can understand how to use them. And then when you automate things, you can do repetitive tasks automatically without human intervention. It saves you time, your time. It saves you money from hiring additional VAs or tasking those VAs to do those tasks that they really don't need to be doing. If they're just repetitive and a computer can do it, let them do. I'm not saying replace the person. Please recognize that. I'm saying have the person go do things that are definitely designed for humans to do. Keep them employed, keep them working. There's plenty to do. There's repurposing of video. There's doing video reels. There's doing memes. There's doing social media outreach. There's sales calls. I mean, there's so much a human being is still and will always be needed for. Automation can bridge that gap and get you more efficient, less cost, more quality because it's error-free, and it makes you look, as an organization, more professional. And when you achieve all that, people want to do business with you again with much less resistance or hesitation.
Yeah, I believe we doing a little bit of automation ourselves. One of our coaches, he's a Minda learner himself, and right now, the beta was a wristband with a chip
Mm.
that can automatically take my business card and from the wristband to somebody's cell phone, and then there, right there, they can
Yeah,
learn what.
yeah. One example. Yeah, there's so many. My goodness. I mean, that chip going to that cell phone, you could have something in the background listening for that occurrence, and based on that, automatically send them an email before they even sit in their seat. And so there's some amazing tools out there, and that's the kind of automation I'm talking about to really, you're showing responsiveness, right? Even though intellectually they know certain things are automated. Today, the beautiful thing is it's more accepted today than ever before because so much is now. And so it's more expected than it is looked at as a nuisance. Oh, you didn't even have the time to type that email to me directly. Well, guess what? They're probably doing the same thing now because everyone's jumping on the automation bandwagon. So there's less resistance and hesitation to the automation itself. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is, and especially with the newer generation, they spend more time on the cell phones than anything else.
Yep, texting across the dinner table. I'm right here.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that it's so hard for people. Like for me, I use my cell phone for whatever I need, but I can find myself without it for a period of time and not go crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Be sitting and watch. You'll see a family sitting and watching TV. The TV's on, but they both have their noses buried in their phones. I'm like, are you guys even watching this? It's crazy. It's like it's almost like it's become an appendage. It's a part of their body, and they can't get rid of it.
Yeah, we have some teenagers that TV on, phone on, and computer. Like,
Yeah, with the earbuds and like, how do you hear the TV? Which one are you listening to?
so anything else that you wanted to like add to how do you also help entrepreneurs to grow their business?
A lot of different things. Yeah, I mean, the live video, interview style video shows what that we do this as an agency. It's a done for you system because there's a lot of tech involved in it because it's very automation rich. And in all seriousness, the automation is primarily built to communicate with the guest that's coming on the show, not even with the audience that's going to watch or listen. And so the automation, there's a lot behind it. To do it properly, do it high quality, to come off as a pure professional, then you want to have a lot of automation done. And it's often too daunting. It took me 3 years to build the system, and I'm still refining it to this day. So for those who don't want to do the tech, that's what we're here for. So you can just show up and be the best host, like Jesus is being, and so you can be present for the guest and not worried about all the mayhem that comes before when you're getting ready for the show. What's the Zoom link? How do I get on? What are the questions? There's all these things that's going crazy. What do I
No.
use for a microphone? What camera? You get all this different stages. Then you can just forget about all that. Focus on the show. When the show's over, we do a lot more automation beyond after the show's over as well. Help share the episode. Ask the guest to do a lot of small things. Give them a gift for coming on. All kinds of great things. Automation is key. And also do some coaching from a business standpoint where it's applicable. I mean, if we see a gap or something, I'll mention something that could improve something in the process of their overall marketing scheme if they're using that show for their business. But on that note, I recommend people don't make their show their business. And what does that mean? Is if you're selling something, if you're selling sports gear, don't make the show about sports gear. Make it about sports. It needs to be. It's a good idea to make it related to what you do, but you don't want it to be focused on that because then it comes off as a big old 30-minute to 1 hour live advertisement, and you don't want people thinking that or feeling that. So I just bring on entrepreneurs that are successful, and we just chat, and I extract their model of success so that others can simply write it down and then do the same. But yeah, that'll be my final tip there for you.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was my pleasure having you, and I know for sure my listeners will really, really enjoy this episode and learn from it.
All right. Thank you, Jesus. My pleasure.
All right. Well, this is all the time we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Until next time, just have a blessed weekend and a blessed week next week.